money makers or people movers, the Chinese EV market has gone crazy for two things: value-packed EVs and MPVs, usually premium ones. Well, how about a value-packed MPV? Oh, and this has a couple of tricks up its sleeve. Welcome to the Zeekr MIX, maybe the cutest and possibly coolest MPV to grace the world. I'm Will, and this is China Driven. Now, the Volkswagen ID buzz may have created a storm online with its revival styling, but this is what you get when you start with a fresh piece of paper in a market that craves innovative ideas. As for price, Zeekr's being quite tight-lipped. They didn't even give us a range of prices, but if I had to guess, I'd say this is going to come in somewhere between the Zeekr 7X's $32,000 starting price up to around maybe $40,000. Seems like quite a bargain for a decent MPV. Without a banana for scale, this thing looks absolutely dinky in photos. It's the proportions, the wheels push to all four corners, the strong belt line, the darkened upper half, and the bulbous, cute styling. It's like one of those adorable Scottish fold cats with a chubby face or little ears. In reality, this is a smidge under 4.7 meters long, which is still quite a lot shorter than those 5.2 meter plus behemoth MPVs like the Zeekr 009. But with the four wheels all pushed to the corners, the wheelbase in this thing is over 3,000 millimeters. But we'll leave the interior for a bit later on. So here are some key styling features about the Zeekr MIX. Following Zeekr's recent design trend, the Zeekr MIX also gets the Stargate light panel. It's over 1,800 LEDs in here, and it's completely standard. Below it, you get this kind of very thin daytime running lights, as well as these super slim slits for the LED matrix headlights. Like, comment, and subscribe. So you can have a 19-inch wheel, this one, or you can have an optional 20-inch rim. And the thing is, the tyres are actually staggered. In this 19-inch version, they're two 35/55s and two 55/50s in the rear. You also get 128-line RoboSense LiDAR as standard, and I have to stop touching cars that have been left in the sun because this is hot. Now, all four doors are automatic, and on the passenger side, you get these two, well, not sliding doors, but double opening doors. But we'll leave the interior for later. And just what you need, a roof-mounted spoiler on MPV, but hidden away up here is the rear window wiper. And down here you have a super sleek LED daytime running light mimicking the front. And Zeekr say that the MIX has 568 litres with enough space for someone who's 1.8 meters tall to sit comfortably in the back. It's kind of a strange way to measure rear cargo space, but at least it isn't the current horrible trend of how many suitcases can I put in the back of my car. Now, you can actually slide these seats forwards as well for more rear space if you want, and you can also fold them electronically using the buttons back here. And when you do fold down those seats completely, Zeekr say that this has over 2,000 litres of space. And if you're wondering how much space that is, there's a banana for scale. You made a mistake, my friend, if you thought this was a simple MPV, Volkswagen microbus. This is a Zeekr MIX, an EV MPV. They told me you were assassinated in Brazil.
Yes, this is my second life.
You only live twice, Mr. VW. Joking aside though, let's delve into the interior of this because it's a doozy. Let's rewind a little bit and give this the moment that it deserves, because when you open these two doors, there is no B-pillar. I mean, look, there's nothing. Well, actually, Zeekr says there are two B-pillars, one on each door, and there's lots of extra reinforcement inside of this so it can meet European and US crash safety standards. But when it's open, I mean, look at all this space. It's a huge opening. I mean, it's definitely unique. There's modes and modes in here, 9 in total. And, well, I won't show them all to you because it does take a little while for them to kind of move their magic. But luckily, Zeekr set up several different mixes to show off the different things you could do with all of the modes. From setups for music and KTV, showing off the overall capacity inside, a setup for E and Hotpot, and of course there was a demonstration of the sleeping mode with a mattress. They even had a play area set up in one. So we've moved place, but we've spun the chairs around again, and look at the amount of space back here. And could you just imagine having an awning or something and having this big opening? You pull up somewhere to go camping or have a nice view. It definitely elicits a feeling of the kind of activities that you could do if you were an owner. And in this regard, I think it's pretty unique amongst other offerings from other automakers. Okay, so back here, the center console is part of the magic. You can just press a button and you can move it into different positions as it slides along this track. Now, it is optional with a fridge, and if you had a fridge, you would have access to it via one of these drawers. But if you get the optional fridge, then you don't get these ports for a table. And you can put up to 4 of these tables in at once, and you can arrange them into a way where you have 4 single tables, like so, or you can have it kind of set up as one big table. Either way is quite handy, and again, adds to that kind of camping or experience together where you can get 4 people around here in quite good comfort and eat dinner or hot pot. So there's no rear entertainment screen back here per se. Up top, you've got a huge panoramic glass roof with an electronic sunshade, but there is ports on the back of the seats for kind of like an iPad or tablet holder and a USB socket to charge it. But just be careful because things are a bit tight when the whole swiveling chairs and sliding center console magic happens. Let me just tidy up in here and then I will tell you a little bit more about the rear. Okay, now it's back to somewhat of a normal seating position back here. This rear bench comes with heat, ventilation, and spa massage function. You also get a pull-down armrest, which has all of your seat controls here, so you can actually move it forwards. You can recline the seat back, and you even have a footstool here as well, if you wanted to kind of relax a bit more. Now, I don't have to talk about legroom or headroom, do I? I mean, legroom. As for headroom, I mean, there's a decent amount. I'm only 1.7 meters tall, but I think for a lot of people, headroom is not going to be a huge issue. In here for audio, you get a 21 speaker, 2160 watt surround sound system with Dolby Atmos spatial audio. And another thing that I really like, apart from the sound the doors make every time they open and close, has to do with lighting. You see this thing here? Now it's part of the ambient lighting, but you can actually remove it. And this is a small camping light. There's actually 3 of them in the car, and I think that's pretty cool. Now, I always give props to Geely products for their fit and finish and materials. And fit and finish in here seems very good. But materials, it's a mixed bag. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of decent materials in here. The seats are Napa leather. There's suede, micro suede. There's metal elements for things like the speaker grills. But there are a few large pieces of hard plastic and gloss black trim. But the styling of the overall cabin interior is very, very nice indeed. I'm a big fan of it, and I think it looks really good, save for just a few places. Okay, a bit back to front, but let's now go to the front row. Up here you have a 13.02-inch instrument panel, because every hundredth of an inch counts, said no one ever. And Zeekr are adamant to beat out their rivals with their piddly 15-inch central screens with their 15.05-inch central touchscreen. It's a 2.5K OLED screen, but round it up, round it down, it's about 15 inches, and guess what? The extra 0.05 inch, unnoticeable. I know what you're thinking. Will the seats swivel, the armrest slides backwards and forwards, but does the screen move? Yes, it does. It can rotate up to 59 degrees, thankfully not automatically, and it will move as fast as I dare to move it, 12 degrees towards the driver, and you mathematicians can work out the rest. But when you do push it towards the passenger side, doesn't that just create a completely different sense in this front seat? I absolutely love it. Now don't worry, because in addition to that instrument panel, you also get a heads-up display. It's 29 inches and it's more than usable. It's got ADAS visualization, it's got your mapping, it's got your speed, it's got all the things that you need. And even though the dashboard is large enough to park 20 cars on, it's a decent size, but yeah, it does feel at least a nautical mile away. Now, all of this is powered by a Snapdragon 8295, and the graphics are absolutely stunning on the screen. Overall, I mean, there's a lot going on in here. You've got some quick buttons for different modes, and generally it's fairly responsive. 360-degree cameras and whatnot, pretty standard. But it's quite a nice screen. Like I said, it's an OLED screen. It rotates, and it's quick enough, I think. Now, of course, these front seats, they got heat, they got ventilation, got spa massage function, and they're really comfortable, these Napa seats. Other things that this comes with: 4-zone AI voice assistant, again, pretty standard nowadays on smart EVs, and also 3-zone AC, and this has a heat pump, and it says it still can provide heat down to temperatures of -30 Celsius. Now, one interesting thing is, if you leave the car with the wheels turned all in one direction and then pop it into park, when you go to open that door, it's going to straighten out the wheels so the door can open fully. Now, you can turn this option off, and if you do, then the door just won't open fully. Clever stuff. 2 battery options for the Zeekr MIX. The smaller 76.5 kilowatt hour LFP pack has a range of 550 kilometers, but it's 5.5C, meaning it can fast charge 10 to 80% in as little as 10.5 minutes. The larger 102 kilowatt hour NCM pack returns a claimed 702 kilometers of range, while being able to add 500 kilometers in 15 minutes. Okay, so driving the Zeekr MIX. Now, this is based on the SEA-M platform, which is actually the platform that underpins the Zeekr Waymo robo-taxi concept that was unveiled a while ago. Although we haven't actually seen those on the road yet, they've taken that platform, and this is what the Zeekr MIX sits on. Now, it's a McPherson strut up front and a multi-link in the rear, but they separated the spring and dampeners for better packaging to, give even more room in the rear here. And the turning circle is super impressive at only 4.95 meters. To give that some context, a Honda Civic has a turning circle of 4.9 meters, so that's pretty damn tight, even though this doesn't have any rear wheel steering. In terms of power, this has a single rear mounted motor, so of course it's rear wheel drive, with 310 kilowatts and 440 Newton meters of torque. That's good for 0 to 100 in 6.8 seconds. Not the fastest acceleration, but you don't really want that neck snapping speed in an MPV. It will also brake from 100 kilometers an hour back down to 0 in 35.6 meters. To be honest, we've been driving it on this kind of twisty road, and I have to say, it's quite a lot of fun with those wheels put all the way out and quite good steering. I really do really have been having a lot of fun with this. It's in no way a car about driving, but I am surprised at kind of how pokey fun this is. You know, you can just kind of poke it around a corner. Those wheels on the outside really do help it to be a bit nimble. And, you know, the power is more than enough. Going back to that power, it's obviously been tuned to be more comfortable. So, like I said, you don't get that neck snapping speed off the line. It's far more of a gentle ramp up where the power kind of surges and comes on. But it is no slouch, especially when you consider this is a family people carrier. You can feel the weight of this though in the corners, to be honest. When you're on the brakes and going around corners downhill, you definitely feel that it is heavy. And I think that if I pushed it even a little bit more, you would start hearing the wheels squill. But, you know, it's definitely put a smile on my face. But at the end of the day, this car is about its features and functionality as an MPV, these kind of unique modes with the chairs moving and whatnot. It's not for driving, but it's not the most boring car that I've ever driven. In terms of comfort, yeah, it's comfortable. Definitely can't complain. It soaks up the lumps and bumps. It's quiet in here. It's double pane glass in the front, but only single pane in the second row. But generally comfortable interior, comfortable seats. I really love this little car. It's not that little, but it really does give you this feeling that it's a lot smaller than it is, deceptively so. The Chinese EV market is a marvel, it's innovative, and it continually surprises me, but often a lot of these kind of feel like gimmicks rather than God honest features. There's many OEMs which on these media drives will have a camping setup to show you how good their coupe-ish sedan is for camping. But this is the real deal. It actually has features and functions that I would use if I actually owned one. God, I want one. God, this thing is good.